Do you want to make the creamiest and cheesiest pasta in white sauce? Well, come on, let's get cooking. And today we're going to make the creamiest and cheesiest white pasta sauce possibly in the world. When I think of white pasta sauces, you can think of 1,000 different recipes, but ultimately, what are you trying to get to? You're trying to get to something very luscious, very creamy, very cheesy, and with loads of flavor. And that's what we're gonna do today. And it's gonna be pretty easy too, so that's an added bonus. And for the ingredients, we're gonna start with the base of celery, onions, and carrots. Then we're gonna make a light bechamel with some flour, butter, and of course, some milk. And then we're gonna add some nuttiness and cheesiness with an amazing Parmigiano Reggiano. And this one is a little bit special with a 13-month aging. And then of course, salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna give you a few options of how you can do little additions. So for instance, adding some sausage, some bacon, other things as we cook. But today we're gonna keep it simple. And we start by prepping our vegetables. For the vegetable, we're keeping things pretty simple. And it's really up to you how thin or thick you cut your vegetables. I like it relatively thin so that it melts better into the sauce, but some people like it chunky because they like the bite, so you do you. And same goes for the carrots and the onion. And here's where you can do your first alterations. I'm using a very simple soffritto, which is the base of most Italian sauces, or mirepoix as they say it in French. Of course here, if you like to add any other vegetables, such as for instance pepper, this is the stage where you start slicing them up as well. And again, once we decide the thickness of our vegetables, we try to cut everything to the same thickness. And finally, we do the onion. And as I was slicing, of course, I realized I forgot the other ingredient, extra virgin olive oil, which we're gonna put a little bit at the base, and we're gonna let it warm up, and then other vegetables. And now we add the soffritto vegetables, aka the Holy Trinity of Italian sauces. Mix about with extra virgin olive oil on a medium heat, and these are going to be moved around for about 4 or 5 minutes until they're nice and soft. And next door, we start preparing the white sauce, which is a nice, simple bechamel to start with. So equals part butter and equal part flour. So we let the butter melt, and as the butter melts, we add the flour and we let it incorporate. Bit at a time. And this helps to just avoid lumps. And this is what our French friends call the roux. And by the way, sorry guys for the World Cup final. And when it comes to making bechamel, the most common mistake people do is not cooking the flour enough. So move it around, make sure the flour is fully cooked before you add the milk. How do you know when the flour is fully cooked? You give it a little taste. If it still tastes very floury like it does right now, you still need to keep mixing it. With the flour cooked, the soffritto is softening, we're gonna add some salt. Also here. And we're gonna start incorporating the milk. This is a little bit of a larger pot that we needed, but I'm at my in-laws and that's what they had. Of course, try to always get a pot which is the right size for the mixture you're trying to make. And I like to finish cooking the pasta with some pasta water. So I want a bechamel which is this kind of consistency, as it will soften up once we add the pasta water at the end of our cooking. And then to incorporate the cheese, we're gonna add last bit of milk. And we're gonna add our Parmigiano. Here, of course, the more cheesy you want it, the more Parmigiano you're gonna put inside. And you mix. At this point, I've switched off the fire. And this is just going to incorporate. At this point, subject to taste, you can also add some pepper. I quite like to do so. Now, I was going to tell you all the alterations you can do to this recipe. So at the moment, if you want to keep it vegetarian, then you're just going to be mixing this with the soffritto. But of course, you don't have to have a vegetarian. You can use a sausage or some pancetta and it'd be amazing. And this can be added at this point to the soffritto and let them continue to cook here when I add the flavor, and then once they're ready, you mix with this luscious white sauce. Now, today I'm only cooking for myself, so I've half the size, and I'm gonna mix it all together, and then we're gonna be boiling the pasta, and that's us done. You can mix all of this together with the water in a rolling boil, salt, and in with the rigatoni. Once the pasta is cooked al dente, we take it out, carry some of the pasta water with us, and we mix it with our sauce. Make sure, it's super important, when you take the pasta out of the water, you need to put it straight into the sauce. Because if you don't do this, the pasta will stick to each other and it will be totally gross. And of course, you don't want to do that at all. At this point, the fire is off. Everything is still warm, of course. And we give this a mix. We're gonna keep the pasta water next to us because we're gonna add it if we see that the sauce is too thick. So right now, you can see the sauce is a little bit too thick. So we take a little ladle and we add the pasta water. And of course, the pasta water is cloudy, it's full of starch, it's got amazing flavor, and it's gonna help us make the sauce extra smooth and creamy. Now it's of course time to plate it and eat it. Once on the plate, top it up with some more Parmigiano. Of course, you're gonna add some chili flakes if you're so inclined, or whatever you like. And perfect timing, we just finished recording and it's lunchtime, so let's give this a taste. It's definitely cheesy, or it's definitely creamy. And the sofrito, it's so nice because it has full of flavor. I leave it slightly crunchy. Well, not crunchy, but it has to have a little bite. It doesn't have to be completely stewed. So when you eat it, it feels fresh. Okay, go do it. Buon appetito.